Okay, so now I have both leading edges in place and sticking out of the front here. So my thoughts now are I'll put the keel bar in and I'll reassemble the nose cone plate and get all the bolts in that, and we'll then start assembling the cross tube which goes from the middle section of the wing across above the keel and then out. I think it's above the keel, yeah, I'm sure it is, and then it goes out to the other wing. So that's what we're going to start with now, putting the nose plate and the keel in. Okay, here is the keel bar in place. The only thing I've done differently from when I stripped it down is I took the bolts out of here, which have the uprights on, and all the wires away because it was getting very complicated as to where all the wires went. So if you disconnect the two uprights from there, everything comes away and you're left with literally just the bar and the hang point. So I'm now going to thread that back in and try and reassemble this front section with its plate. Okay, with the assembly of this plate now, we've got the 3 bars coming out. More focus. Get on it. There you go. And on the one side of it there is a Phillips screw that holds this webbing strap that allows us to put the tension on the wing. So we're starting off by just tightening those up, and the same on the other one, and then we're going to line these plates up onto here with the spacers where we've all marked as to where they come out of, and these 2 bolts to hold the leading edge to the nose plate. And then we'll do, because this is upside down, that is now the top, not the bottom. When we turn it over, it will be the bottom, and we're gonna, yeah. So the key, the swan catch, hooks into there, pulls forwards, and then the pit pin goes into there. So that's the right way around. So we're going to start putting that together now. Now we have the nose cone all assembled. I've changed the nuts on here because they're all nylocks, and they're put in since the wing was originally made. So you've got nylocks replaced on there, and I've also replaced the nylocks on the other side, and they're just pinch tight. They're not ridiculously tight because this one has to pivot as the wing goes back, and then there's the retaining strap on here which keeps the tension on the wing. And the only thing that was a little bit fiddly with doing this was putting the tension on the wing sail itself, which is afforded by this web at the back here. Now that was tight, so we've used a tire lever to go through the webbing, lever against that, and then put the tension on and slide this over the end of the shaft, and then put the Velcro. Actually, the Velcro is not on this one, so the Velcro needs to go around there, and that stops that coming off. With that. And then the same on the other wing, and everything's looking good. The washout rods are coming the right way out. So now we've got the cross tube to put in place, so we're just having an inspection of the various bits of the cross tube and all the metal bits, and making sure there is no damage on the holes.
Give you all don't
and there is a sleeve inside of the just going disappearing down the middle of the pipe, and I don't want that to happen. We have to tip that up and get him out. There he goes. So we have a sleeve inside there. So it's the same old thing, we're just making sure that metallically everything is as it should be on there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You're just measuring.
Yeah, just making sure it's the right.
It's round, not oval.
Yeah. There's definitely
Yeah.
nothing in there, obscurity.
And once we've checked all of these parts out, and the same on the other one, we'll then put the cross tube in and join the ends up. The brackets here, the brackets on this side will attach onto there, and then the cross tube goes underneath the keel, or above the keel in this case, but because we've got the aircraft upside down, it will be underneath the keel post, and then we can put the uprights on and connect some of the wires up. Okay, now we have the cross tube in place, bolted in. So these are then bolted to the leading edge. This is the port leading edge, and I've just taped over the bolts at the back here so that they don't rub against the material, and then that goes off through the middle of the wing to join up in the middle, and we can access that through this section here. Now I left this collar out because the collar has a tendency to disappear down the hole, and you can't find it then, and that's the question. Have we lost the collar in there? I do need to make sure that I've got that collar back out. So that's the cross tubes back in. We then need to put the webbing strap onto there that holds it, and then we pull that back to put the tension on the wing. Right, we have the cross tube in place, and the coupling assembly that joins it together. It has these bolts that come through with castle nuts. And then I can show you on this one. It's a castle nut, and it needs a split pin in there to stop that coming loose. So they're just tight. They're not ridiculously tight. They're just tight enough to hold this plate flush with the tube, and the wires at the back here have to then go out and stay flat all the way out, because then they're the tension wires that sit at the back. So that's all nipped up, everything's looking good. Split pins in that one, split pin in this one, and I'm going to round the tops of the split pin off so that it doesn't rub against the sail, and then we've got the cross tube in place. So now we have all the flying metalwork in, the leading edges are in, the keel is in, the cross tube is in. I now want to start assembling the uprights, which are here, one there, one the other side, which I've taken away for the moment. I've just tried to sort out all the wires, so I've got a wire that goes to the front there, and a wire that goes to the back, and then there's the two side wires that come out to the leading edge, halfway along the leading edge. While I'm in here, I want to change the rigging, the trim wires, which are on the other upright. So I've got that out at the moment. I'm just trying to figure out how to get this trim wire out and how it locks in place. So I have the other upright here, and there's the trim wire. It comes out of here, and I haven't quite figured out how it locks into here yet. At the moment it came, the metal, the wire comes through here, and on mine it had a nut on it which had been sanded down so that it fits in the hole, but when I took it off the nut snapped in half, so I need to find another way to lock that in there. I'm thinking some kind of split washer to go in, or it's too narrow for that, but it's too wide for that, so it might take me a little while. But with that off, I can get the wire out of the pulley like that, and then that will thread out through there and come out at the top of the upright. I want to be careful with this, because I'm not sure how easy that's going to be to thread through, so when I pull it out I'm going to attach a piece of string to it and thread the string through, and then hopefully I can use the string to pull the other one back through. Anyway, that's where we are now. Okay, that was a little harder than I expected it to be. I now have the old wire out and the new one in. Getting the new one in is a bit of a pig. The string that I ran through behind the old wire wasn't an awful lot of use. What I found is when I threaded the new wire in, it comes out of the bottom quite happily, but because it's got, so it comes out of there, because it's got this toe, what do you call it, coupling on the end of it. The coupling is straight, and I've got to get it to go around that bend and come out of this hole here. It's a bit dark, so I can't really show you, and it tends to want to go straight on. There is also, let me see if I can show you on that. There is, come on, focus. At the back of there, there is a little pin on there, and it's very difficult to get that piece there to go around that circle. So I ended up pushing a piece of wire through there. It needs to be a very fine piece of wire, so I've ended up with this stuff, and I've pushed that through here so that it comes out of the bottom, and then I've joined the wire to the end of the trim wire, and then pulled it through, and then you've got to fiddle and wiggle with it until it eventually comes out. It did come out in the end. It came to the front here, and then it gets jammed on this plate here. So then I needed to make a hook, which I found an old piece of wire like that, and I just made a hook on it, and then I could get hold of that and then pull it through. Once that's through, you've then got to get this little marker piece through. Now that won't fit through the top with the screws in, so I've had to take the screws out, and then of course it's free running on the wire, so it tends to disappear off the tube here, so you have to shake it and twiddle it until it comes down. And the way I got that to come out, once I've got the wire through here, I've pulled a loop of the wire out at the bottom with the coupling on, and then put some tape behind where the wire is, and pulled it from here, and it's then allowed the coupling to come out of there, and then I can put the two screws in and it stays put. So what I need to do now is it goes through the back of the handle here, and it needs some kind of locking device in there to stop this coming back. So I need to get a sleeve of metal of some sort that I can wrap around there that won't go out of that hole in there, and also won't let the collar slip back. So I'm going to work on that now.